I've operated and assisted over a dozen information businesses doing between 70 grand a month all the way up to 600 grand a month. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how our agency scales information products past that 70 to 150K a month mark using paid ads, as well as how to set up your infrastructure for success as you build into paid and cold traffic. This is exactly how we help people like John break over 200 cash collected a month. Kyle and Blake do over 100K selling from stage, as well as some screenshots from some other ad accounts that we aren't under NDA on. I've personally managed over 7 figures in spend in 2025 alone. When it comes to scaling paid traffic, there are 5 steps that you need to follow in order to maximize this process, and we've got a lot to cover in this video, so pay close attention. First thing you need to do is you need to analyze what works organically. If you're already doing 70 to 150 grand a month using organic content, scaling into paid can be a lot easier than if you're just going straight to cold traffic. What this looks like is pulling customer data, looking at who converts the most cash up front, who's the best sell, who's the easiest to sell, who has the biggest LTV, what funnels seem to perform best on organic traffic. And you want to pull all of that data so you have a good idea as to what works best within your organization, as well as what works with your sales team. One of the biggest problems I see, and I mentioned this in another video on my channel, is a lot of the times when you scale into paid, your sales team is not ready, or you are throwing your sales team into a situation that they are not accustomed to. You want to make sure that you are tailoring your process to the sales team, because this will make scaling into paid a lot easier, and you can adjust after you've created the margin to then reinvest or be willing to burn as your sales team gets acclimated to the new funnels that you may launch. Now, once you've analyzed what works, you have a good idea as to what funnel you want to launch on the paid side, then you need to just go ahead and duplicate everything. One thing I will say that a lot of people miss when they go to duplicate into paid is they're not compliant. No money and time frame. Not, we're going to help you make 10K per month in 90 days. Not, this is how we did 141K in 90 days, right? You will get your ad account shut down. You will get your funnels flagged. Now you got to switch domains, you got to switch credit cards, you got to switch all these things on the ad account. We do not want that to happen. And so when you go to duplicate it, make sure you are auditing the entire thing for compliance. Most info businesses ignore the FTC. The FTC will fuck you. So audit for compliance. The next thing you want to do, once you've launched the funnel to paid, you've started pulling in data, is you want to be looking for what are called messaging pockets. Messaging pockets are essentially the way that you say something in order to bring in a certain type of person. For example, if I say things like, if you're a 9-to-5 worker and you're looking for XYZ opportunity, the messaging pocket I am targeting is 9-to-5 workers. If I say, do you have 70 to 120K liquid capital to invest? I am looking for investors with 120K liquid capital, right? I'm looking for the messaging pocket. Once I find the messaging pocket, then I'm going to go into the optimization phase. This is where now I'm getting clients that are converting. I have a decent ROAS, and I'm going to start searching for ways to get it above base KPI. So let's say I launch, I finally find something that works. I'm sitting at a 1.5 ROAS. I'm going to look to hit that 3. And then once I hit 3x ROAS, I'm going to move on to step 5 and scale. Optimizing, this is coming down to things like testing the metrics in your funnel, optimizing the sales. Let's say it's the setting flow or the closing flow or things like that. And you are essentially tweaking the funnel until you hit the base KPI to then scale. In order to find the ROAS that you want to scale at, do the math and scale based on what you're comfortable with. Typically, our baseline across all information offers is a 2.5 to 3x return on ad spend. Anything above that, and I'm going to scale the fucking funnel into oblivion. Those are the basic 5 steps that you need to follow when it comes to scaling. In terms of how the funnel actually works, it can be broken down pretty straightforward. What we essentially do with all information businesses that we work on, and what we recommend you do if you're going to scale past that 150K per month mark, is obviously start with organic. I would pick the 3 best channels, or the 3 best channels in my opinion, are going to be Instagram, X, YouTube. If you can nail those, you're hitting all 3 types of content and you can scale into that. I'd also recommend building out an email funnel. However, this is not the most useful thing if you don't already have a big list. Once you do that, you are going to want to push your organic to 2 places, YouTube and whatever funnel you're using to convert prospects. Where I see a lot of people go wrong is they try to go Instagram straight to the funnel. The number one way that you're going to convert a lot of your prospects is by just pushing majority of traffic to YouTube. By using this type of funnel, essentially what you are doing is think of it like a webinar, right? I am taking short form content and I am pushing them to long form content to then push them over the edge. Some people might go straight from Instagram to conversion, but it doesn't happen very often. And so we want to push people to the mechanisms that have the highest likelihood of converting. That being YouTube, and in some cases, webinars, call funnels, DM ad strategies, whatever it might be on the funnel side. Once I've done that, this information, as soon as they give me my info in the funnel, is going to hit a CRM. That CRM is then going to go to a salesperson, and the salesperson will then close the deal. Let's say you experience drop off. You already have this person's information in the CRM. So what you can do is you can either redirect them back to the funnel, or you can redirect them to email, which then reroutes them back to the funnel. What you can also do, which I didn't include on this, is you can send that CRM data back to the ad platforms to create custom audiences to retarget and then push them back to the funnel as well. But the goal, the number one priority you need to have in the beginning is capturing as much information as possible to then push to salespeople and then eventually get the close. This is a basic outline. If you are not running something like this, first thing we will do is set up the infrastructure on your organic side to scale effectively. Now, once you have this converting to some degree and you have a decent organic following, the next thing you're going to want to do is launch into paid traffic. With paid traffic specifically, all of this awareness is going to go direct to the funnel. And in this case, sometimes what you'll see is the funnel will go to your other content and then they'll come back through organic, but we want to push them straight to the funnel. Where a lot of people go wrong is they try to do all these fancy ad strategies, they overcomplicate their funnels, and they create too many barriers and too many friction points in the funnel itself. This is going to create drop off. This is going to drag out your sales cycles. This is also going to cause you to lose people. For example, opt-in pages on a call funnel, fuck that, burn them. You want to cut down on friction to pull data in and then iterate off of that data. Which brings me to the second point in this whole system, is you are creating a feedback loop with your salespeople. From paid ad to funnel to salesperson, you then have the salesperson fill out Google Forms or type forms or whatever you want to use to then give you feedback to improve your ads and your funnel. Not only will you use forms, but you will also use a software like Fathom or other call recording softwares to look at what they're saying and doing objectively as well. A lot of the time, salespeople will come in with biases where they will think the leads are bad, and so this will skew the feedback that they give you. By using a tool like a Fathom or a Google Form, you can, one, look at what they have to say, objectively back it against the call recording as well. Now, the third tool I recommend from a feedback perspective is going to be softwares like Leadfi or Fanbasis's financial auditing tools or whatever you want to call them. What these tools do is they essentially take financial data from the prospect and feed that back into Facebook. Not only will that allow you to improve your targeting and your ads performance, but it will also allow you to hold salespeople accountable. If they say a lead is not qualified, but financially they have $50K liquid in the bank, they could have bought. That is why tools like Leadfi are so important when it comes to checking salespeople and holding them accountable. In general, the concept I want to stress here, especially on the paid traffic side, salespeople are going to be your best form of feedback from a call recording perspective, from a Google Form perspective, as well as from a Leadfi perspective, just to hold them accountable on top of that. You're probably asking yourself, well, Zach, this all makes sense. I get the 5 steps, but what funnel do I run? You're mentioning funnels. These are 8 funnels that we use across all clients depending on the situation. Low ticket to high ticket, challenge funnels, call funnels, webinar funnels, DM funnels, lead form funnels, email funnels, as well as selling from stage if you are equipped to do so. What we typically recommend and what we typically launch with clients is webinars and call funnels. Reason being, these allow for high amounts of nurture and they are also the most reliable funnel to use. However, the caveat to this is occasionally we'll run a DM strategy. Certain clients like fitness clients and other niches like that, their prospects respond better to DM funnels. Lead forms, sometimes for these higher ticket things. I personally haven't done this, but I know Jeremy Haynes talks about running lead forms for capital raising. I've run lead forms for teams in the past. Haven't found the best success, but gotten them to convert. Email, great thing to run if you're not already doing. Selling from stage, if you want to put on a live event, by all means, sell from stage. These funnels rip. That's what we did with Blake and Kyle. Like I said, we did 100K cash in a day. makes so much sense. Challenge funnels, think of them as virtual selling from stage. Low ticket to high ticket, great funnels for forcing consumption and framing prior to booking a sales call. We love low ticket to high ticket. It's just a little more operationally complex, and I typically will bias towards call funnels and webinar funnels just because it's a much faster way to see an immediate return on your ad spend because there are less variables to play with. Again, inside of the agency, we have full in-depth SOPs on every single one of these that you guys can check out if you do decide to work with us, or if you're interested in just seeing one of them, shoot me a message, DM me on Instagram, give me a follow, and we're actually going to be covering some of these in future YouTube videos that you guys can check out. Now, once you've done that, again, you've determined the funnel, you've set up your basic infrastructure, and you're ready for the feedback, you are now ready to begin testing for messaging pockets and optimizing the funnel. This brings me to the most important part of this entire process, which is tracking. 99.999% of organic businesses are dog shit at tracking, and it pains me. It absolutely kills me. When you go to scale into paid, you need to know exactly what your base metrics are. And these aren't even all of them. These are just generic metrics that you should be tracking based on where you're at. Your ad spend, your CPM, your link click-through rate, your opt-in rate, your play rate on the VSL, engagement rate on the VSL, open rates on emails, on the pre-call emails, post-call emails, our flex seal emails is what we call them inside of the business, your call booking rate, your application submission rate, your show rate, your close rate, your set call show rate, your set call booked appointment rate, your collected dollars per book call, your gross dollars per book call, your collection rate, your cash collected, your revenue, your ROAS on cash, your ROAS on revenue, your AOV, your average sale price. Like there are so many things that you need to be tracking at a very granular level in order to make decisions. The one thing that majority of people do not understand when they run paid ads is they are not running an advertisement, they are buying data. Tracking is the number one thing to do. If you do not have a robust tracking system, you can go fuck yourself. Now, where does this data typically come from? In general, as a marketer, and this is coming straight from Jeremy Haynes, so I appreciate you, brother. As a marketer, you're going to track 3 separate points. Your UTMs, so these are from softwares like Hyros or your CRM itself. These are the little URL things that you see at the end where it may say UTM source equals email, equals Facebook ads, equals the YouTube video title in some cases. You're going to want to look at the ads manager reporting or ManyChat reporting, whatever you're using on the traffic generation side of things. And then you're going to want to, and this is where most marketers and most info offers get lazy, you want a unique funnel for each traffic channel. If I'm running a call funnel, I have a call funnel for organic. I have a call funnel for Facebook ads. I have a call funnel for Google ads. I have a call funnel for YouTube, a different call funnel for YouTube than I do for Instagram, than I do for TikTok, than I do for X. For every single traffic source is going to have a different funnel. This isn't just the website. This is Typeform. This is the VSL, this is the breakout videos, this is the confirmation page videos, this is the pre-call emails, right? Because your open rates on organic traffic are going to be 10, 20, sometimes 30% higher than you're going to see on cold. If you mix the two, you might as well get fucked when you're making decisions because you may have a deliverability issue, but it's getting hidden in the weeds. You need to not be lazy and track individual funnels for each traffic channels down to every single component of the funnel. Now, once you understand this on the marketing side, it's important to understand how we inside of the agency track data, right? Because again, tracking is the number one thing that you need to understand. And as an ad agency, if you're thinking about working with an ad agency or an operator, if they do not have a robust tracking system, tell them to get fucked. 3 points of contact or 3 pieces of information that we pull from. Sales rep forms, like I mentioned about over here. Calendly, direct from the calendar. And then from a VA for the marketing data. What we then do is we route this information to a sales data tracking sheet. This sales data tracking sheet then funnels information to all of the marketing sheets so that for each funnel, we can see the cohesive information with more of those front-end marketing metrics. The sales data is just a condensed version of that. We also route everything to a master marketing sheet. This is where we can see all of the funnels in one spot. And so if you analyze this again, sales rep form Calendly gets pulled into the sales data, VA info gets pulled into the sales data as well. This sales data becomes the backbone of everything that we use. And again, we're making sure to use accurate sources of truth for all of our information and cross-referencing. Biggest thing, if you do have trouble getting your sales reps to submit forms, tie the forms to commission. Even if they close a deal, if they do not submit a form, they can get fucked. They're not getting paid. Hate to say it, it's where we've seen the most success when it comes to tracking. But that breaks down the basics in terms of tracking. Again, the funnel itself is pretty straightforward. All organic traffic needs to funnel to YouTube or the actual funnel for conversions. This then goes to a CRM, which ideally goes to the salesperson and then turns into cash collected or contract value generated. If they don't convert, you're pushing them back to email, you're pushing them back to the funnel, and you're creating unique audiences for your ad platforms, right? So this, again, you're going to want to create unique custom audiences that you can retarget within the ad platforms. This is the basics behind how we run everything. Again, these are the most common funnels that we use. This is how we track. This is something I recommend all information offers include inside of their business. This is the basics behind the actual tracking system. And if you do want just a summary on the 5 steps that we use. So if you do want to scale your offer past 150 grand a month, whether it's organic into paid or just launching to paid, depending on the offer, analyze what works organically, duplicate the funnel to paid, begin testing for messaging pockets, optimize the funnel once you find a pocket that converts, and then scale that motherfucker. So if you guys are looking to work with an agency that actually knows what they're doing, you can click the link below. You can apply to work with us. You'll either talk to myself or a member of my team. You can also subscribe to the email below where I'm going to push out more information like this that you guys can check out. And then subscribe to the channel. I'm putting out content like this all the time. Like I said, we're going to start putting out videos on each one of these SOPs. And this just scratches the surface as to what we have internally. You know, you'll see a video on low ticket to high ticket, challenge funnels, call funnels, everything under the sun. And if you guys are looking for these resources, comment below. Let me know. Might send them out if I'm feeling nice. Follow me on Instagram. Subscribe. If you guys are looking for help, book a call below. Hopefully this channel helps you guys in your info scaling journey, and I will see you in the next one.